good morning. Welcome back to the session. This is Dr. C. Raghavendra, Associate Professor, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. So today we will discuss a very important and very interesting concept called switching. Okay, and this is a very important concept even in the GATE and when many more competitive examinations we can get a question from this switching. And to understand how the data is going to be transferred across the internet or across the multiple networks, we must have to understand the concept called switching, right? So let's see what is the switching and what are the functionalities, how it looks like, everything, right? Let's see. Switching techniques, right? In large networks, there may be more than one path for transmitting data from sender to receiver. It's quite common, isn't it? So when we are interconnecting more number of huge number of networks, obviously we will get an n number of paths we can identify to reach from source to destination, right? And selecting a path that data must take out of the available option is called switching, right? So apart from n number of paths, so how could we identify which path is a suitable one, isn't it? Selecting a path, data must take out the available option is called switching. So how it is going to be path determination, right? How path is going to be identified. So that a process is we can call it as a switching process, right? Here we have two types of switching, right? One is called circuit switching, another one called packet switching. So what is circuit switching? What is packet switching? So how the data flow is going to be taken place in circuit and packet switching, we'll see. In circuit switching, when dedicated path is established for data transmission between sender and receiver, it is called circuit switching, right? So what will happen here? There is a dedicated path. See, whenever you can find such a kind of terminology, dedicated path, that means you must understood this is a physical path is established. That means like if you say that it's a broadband is there, a telephone landline connection is there, there is a dedicated path. That means one source to destination, there is a cable, okay? A dedicated path is available. That means in circuit switching, it supports the cables one, isn't it? So whenever dedicated path is established for data transmission between sender and receiver, right? So it is called a circuit switching. So when any network node want to send data, be it audio, video, text, or any other type of information, a call request signal is sent to the receiver and acknowledged back to ensure availability of dedicated path, right? For example, okay, so if you take a sender is there, okay, as well as receiver is there, okay. So this is assume that this is internet, okay. We know that internet having n number of, what will happen, n number of networks are interconnected, okay. So in this particular, so from source to destination, how the data is going to be transferred, this is assume that this is a one dedicated path from source to destination or sender to receiver, okay. So with this, so the sender may transmit any video file, or it may be audio file, or it may be a text file, okay. So whatever, so even sender may call to the receiver also, maybe a video call or voice call also is going to be happen, isn't it? So whenever sender want to do any sort of these works, right, what will happen? So first is going to send an request, one request. So now I'm going to send one particular information or particular voice message. It is going to send to the receiver. So after getting a receiver this request, so the receiver will send an acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is going to send back to the sender. So once the sender will receive this particular acknowledgement, now the sender feels that the receiver is ready to accept the data. Then now sender is going to transmit the whatever the data, maybe audio, video, multimedia data, whatever the data is going to be transmitted successfully. So that will be happen in this circuit switching, right? This dedicated path is used to send data. ARPANET used circuit switching for communication over the network, right? So we heard this ARPANET, no, Advanced Research Project Agency Network. This is a first network which is introduced by the defense of US. That's why we can also call it as DARPANET, right? So initially, how they are going to transmit the data? This means who is going to transmit the data? The ARPANET. Okay, the US defense people have started this internet concept. So at that time, how they are transmitted means just by like this only, with the help of circuit switching only. In the circuit switching, the sender and receivers are there. So there are multiple dedicated paths are available from sender to receiver, apart from many, and the sender is going to be transmitted with one dedicated path like this. Okay, like this, the data is going to be transferred from sender to receiver. Okay, and here the message is going to be transferred like this. Okay, so this is a example for circuit switching. That means, so all our dedicated paths are existed. With this dedicated path among several dedicated paths, so it is going to be identify one of the best path, and again with this particular path it is going to be transfer the data from source to destination or sender to receiver, right? And these small lines and thick lines and thin lines are there. This thin line is a path of message 1 and thick lines represent the path of message 2, right? The next important and interesting one is called packet switching, right? So generally nowadays many of them are using this packet switching. So in the olden days we are completely dependent on the circuit switching technology. Now everybody using the packet switching. Okay, and this is almost equivalent to the circuit switching, and in terms of speed, in terms of capacity, data transmission range, everything is almost equivalent to the circuit switching, right? And this packet switching transmits data across digital networks by breaking it down into blocks or packets for more efficient transfer using various devices. Okay, and here what will happen, here the data can be represented in the form of packets or blocks. Okay, during the transmission, with the help of packet switching, the data can be represented in the form of packets. Even if it will be data units, it will be make it into a data packets, and or blocks we can call it, and those things will be transmitted through packet switching. And each time one device send a file to another, it breaks the files down into packets so that it can determine the most efficient route for sending the data across the network at that time, right? So what will happen? So we know that there is a sender system as well as receiver system. So what will happen here? The sender system, okay, and in the application layer or presentation layer or session layer, how it look like? So the data can be represented in the form of application layer data unit, presentation layer data unit, session layer data unit. But whereas in the packet switching, what will happen? Every data is going to be converted into packets or blocks, isn't it? So now the data units are going to be divided into data packets, and those data packets are going to be transferred from source system to destination system with the help of packet switching. In this particular packet switching, what will happen? Each and every data packet having the own source and destination address. Okay, based on the destination address, it is going to be identify the best path to reach to the destination system across the multiple networks, right? This is an example here. So here what will happen? Assume that this is a data packets. Data packet 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 packets we are going to be transferred from A to B, right? Now these S1, S2, S3, S4 all are the different networks. Assume that there are different networks are there. Okay, so now these are 1 and 4. Okay, data packet 1 and data packet 4 are, they feel that so the best path is from S1 to S2, and remaining 2 are identified that so S1 to S3 are the best data packet, best route to reach to the destination. Okay, like this it is going to be transferred here. From S3 again it feels that 2 is the best route, and 3 and data packet 3 feels that S5 is the best route. After reaching here, the 1 is transferring like this, and 4 the packet 4 feels that so via S3 is easy route. Okay, S3 is best route, and again data packet is going to be coming like this. Okay, and like this data are going to be transferred across multiple networks and finally reaches to the destination. And finally what will happen here, 1 2 3 4 is there, and here how it look like 1 3 4 2 is there. Okay, but even though whenever it reaches to the destination point, so based on this sequence number, again this destination point is going to be rearranged those packets. Again it will make it into 1 2 3 4, right? Like this it is going to be data transmission going to be taken place. Whereas in dedicated path what will happen, so assume that 1 2 3 4 is there now. If it chooses this path, the same path is going to be in the same dedicated path, all the data packets are going to be transferred. But whereas in packet switching, every packet as it's going to be choose its own route. Okay, so like this data is going to be transmitted from one system to another system, right? Is it clear? Thanks for your attention. Today we have discussed so what is circuit switching, what is packet switching, how the data is going to be transferred from source to destination. Okay, and which is the now more efficient, and which is we are currently using. All these things we have discussed, isn't it? So thank you so much. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.